Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar with ACTA. My name is Emily. I'm the Senior Campaign Lead here at Birchal. And just before I introduce you to Harris and Michael, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land that we are coming to you from today. Birchal is based on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. So today I'm joined by Harris and Michael from ACTA. Birchal is working with them on their upcoming equity crowdfunding offer. A few of you might be a little bit unfamiliar with what crowdsource funding is, or CSF. It's also known as equity crowdfunding, and it's a relatively new form of fundraising here in Australia that allows startups and small businesses to raise capital from a large number of smaller or retail investors, as well as wholesale and sophisticated investors through an online platform such as Birchal. So instead of seeking funding from traditional sources such as banks or venture capitalists, companies can turn to the general public, often that's their communities, to raise money in exchange for equity in their businesses. So Birchal Financial Services will be the licensed intermediary for the offer. And I do want to remind everybody who is here today that the information and discussion in this webinar is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice or a recommendation to invest. So I would implore you to please do your own research. Always consider the general CSF risk warning and offer document before investing. And if you do have any questions, please head over to birchal.com or shoot us an email through at support@birchal.com. Now, how today's session is going to run. I'm going to hand over in a minute to Harris and Michael, who will take us through a great presentation, which will be approximately 15 to 20 minutes long, all about ACTA, where they've come from, and what they're looking to achieve with their capital raise on Birchal. We'll then switch to a Q&A session. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little Q&A bubble. So if you've got any questions during today's session, please pop it in the Q&A box as we go along, and we'll endeavour to answer as many as possible during the Q&A time at the end. Also, we are recording today's session, so if you do have to jump off early or you'd like to send this to anybody who you think might be interested, a recording will be sent around. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Harris and Michael.
Thank you, Emily. Thanks a lot. And thank you to everyone for, who's here. Welcome. So yes, I'm Harris. I'm the founder and CEO of ACTA. And the better looking guy to my right on my screen is Michael, who's our COO. So yeah, I mean, ACTA has been a while in creation, and first and foremost, it has required a whole industry to join forces to solve some serious problems. And we believe, and everyone that is associated with ACTA, over 90% of Australia's industry, believe it's the future of talent booking. So what are we? Well, first of all, we're an industry directory. Now, that might sound a bit nonchalant. It might sound easily attainable, but the fact that we've built Australia's first comprehensive and complete talent directory is far more, I guess, harder and to achieve than any sort of technology that I'm going to present to you. And the technology itself is amazing, but to build a directory that allows all types of talent bookers direct and unfettered, transparent communication and introduction to the representatives of talent, the true representatives, and talent themselves, required us to get a whole industry to back it. And that is the true testament of ACTA, the fact that a whole industry has joined forces to build a directory, and then also a whole bunch of tools that solve a lot of problems that exist with all types of talent opportunities. So what are the problems? Well, first of all, Google. As great as Google is, and as great as a tool that it has, propelled humanity forward, it has opened up pitfalls of uncertainty and deliberate misrepresentation and fraud in every market in Australia, in the world. People within the entertainment and events industry purport to represent people they don't, and you can check this yourself. Type in, anyone from Jimmy Barnes through to the Veronicas, Delta Goodrem, anyone on Google, and you will find a plethora of pages that purport to be able to give you access to that artist. Do that to people like LeBron James and Bruno Mars, then multiply that by 100. You won't find them. And the thing is that 90% of events are booked by people, and opportunities are booked by people that don't exactly know the intricacies of booking talent. For instance, like a festival promoter or a touring promoter. These people know. They've got a Rolodex, they've got little black books, they've got relationships. They know what agency represents what artist. But 90% of opportunities are booked by people that don't know, and they need social media or they need Google, and they just can't find the right person to speak to because it's populated by all of these fraudulent opportunists that are out there trying to sort of make a buck in the middle. And that includes speaking agencies and third-party talent bookers and all types of people within the middle. Some do create some value, and we'll get to that later on. But for most part, everyone is paying an unnecessary commission. So that's the first problem. The second lot of problems is when you actually get onto a booking, an opportunity, whether it's marketing and PR, a photo shoot, an ambassadorship, or it's a live event, there's a lot of communication breakdown. If I was to say a word like bridezilla to you, all right, that instantly, paints a picture in your mind of a bride-to-be absolutely crumbling under the pressure of her wedding. But in reality, that's just a normal person who's chosen to produce an event. And it's that difficult because events work in real time. And unless you've got access to real-time information and with so many different moving parts, it creates a real struggle for people. The struggle is so real that it's literally the 5th most stressful job that you can do, as stated by Forbes. All the others are like military and police and fire. So it is a very stressful job. And like, imagine any movie or TV show. Imagine someone standing behind the curtain with headphones on, frantically looking at a clipboard and losing their mind with overstress. That's what live event bookings, and that's what live talent bookings, and that's what events in general do to people within a live environment. So we've created this single interface, which we're going to get to in a second, which allows instant communication, instant notifications, and it eliminates a lot of that human error and that uncertainty. So let's get back to how we solve the first part of the problem. Well, like I said at the start, it's Australia's first complete talent directory. Everyone has joined forces to be featured on it. Every agency, every manager, well, when I say every, over 90%. There's a few stragglers, obviously, it's a very proud industry, but that's through uncertainty and sort of, not looking into it with what it is. Everyone else, from the absolute upper echelons through to the most booked independents, are firmly behind what ACTA is trying to achieve. So finally, we have a directory that you don't need to go to Google, which is why we say buy Google anymore when you can ACTA, and you type in the artist name or the talent that you're looking for, be it sport, music, media, film, comedy, any genre of talent, and you type their name in and you are instantly connected with that person's true representative. And if they're part of the independent represented talent that perform at high levels, you get to speak to them directly if they don't have a manager or agent assigned to their profile. So that's the first thing. It bypasses all that uncertainty. Now we get to the fun stuff, the powerful automatic booking tools. Now, normal events, normal opportunities have multiple people connected over multiple different email threads, WhatsApp groups, text messages, God knows what else. And everyone's trying to communicate because communication within a real-time industry is key to its success. Also key to its success is having this source of truth. And there's a lot of problems that exist. People turning up in, wearing the wrong attire at the wrong time to the wrong security gate. People not having the right dressing room riders or backline riders or stage riders or production riders. People not getting the latest flight change or accommodation change. Can you imagine hundreds of people connected to events where the information is stagnant and interrupted? Well, now you've got this one single interface. This single interface where you can, and this is my favorite part of ACTA, allows you to add teammates on both sides of the booking, and you can choose what they see, and then share the documents and the messages pertaining to each one. So now you've got instant notifications whenever there's a message that concerns you, whenever there's a document change that concerns you. You are instantly notified. If you ever need to know what's going on at any time, and I mean anyone, from a hair and makeup artist on the artist side to an artist manager, the artists themselves, musicians in their backing bands, assistants, or on the other side of the market, the booker, a marketing department, a legal department, an accounting department, all of these people that are sort of hovering, you know, as teammates on a booking. Whenever anyone needs a source of truth, they don't need to scroll through emails anymore. They don't need to ask someone or send an email off or call someone. They just go to acta and it will tell them. The last document is the true document. The last message is the last message, and everything is in this one place. And I can't tell you how important that is for a live, breathing event entertainment talent booking software, because beforehand, we used to just deal with problem after problem. So they're the automated booking tools, and that's what, and that's the second part of the value proposition that acta provides. Thirdly, and this is separate to what acta is, we come from a world of you know, producing and curating talent for events. Did it for 30 years as the market leader, as a curator of talent. Now, we always insisted that the clients pay, you know, directly, and we always provided value like a speaking bureau does, for example, by helping people find the right artist for their budget and their brief and their location, I guess. So we always, you know, we always helped and provided real value. You know, we had offices and staff, market leading company for over 25 years. Offices in Sydney, offices in Melbourne. At one stage, we had offices in Hong Kong and Macau. And this is what we did. Much like a speaking bureau, much like anyone else, we helped people find the right talent for their brief and their budget. And even though we were the good guys, we were still part of the problem. Right now, what we're doing is promoting everything to happen directly, eliminating all commissions that talent used to lose to people in the middle. And we're still providing that curation free of charge to all parties that are looking for talent using the platform. Now, in future, which I can't wait for, we are going to turn, we're currently in the process of building an AI module for curation, which is going to take our 30 years of knowledge and all that data that we've accumulated over the years and marry it with what's freely available online and create this perfect simulated curational tool that is going to help anyone find the exact talent for their exact budget and for exactly the brief and demographic that they're looking to assist for any type of opportunity, be it an advertising campaign or a live event. So we're really excited about that component, and that's one of the things coming up. Next, I'll hand over to Michael to let you know how we've done, you know, during our last couple of years in beta.
Awesome, thank you, Harris. So a couple of years ago, coming off the back of COVID, we decided to run a beta phase, as a lot of tech companies do. And the important part of this phase for us was ensuring that we built the trust of all the different parties within the industry. And I'll talk about talent for the most part because, as Harris has mentioned, you know, given the history of the talent industry and the amount of times and the amount of people that have taken advantage of talent over the years, convincing them to join a marketplace where their artist's image was going to be listed on another platform to their own website was a pretty huge undertaking. So at the beginning of the beta phase, we had maybe 10 or 15 agencies that were willing to give the platform a go and list their talent. But over that phase of the beta period, like I said, we needed to build trust with these companies so that they would continue to onboard talent. With a marketplace or any marketplace, you know, these platforms have a catch-22 issue, right? You've got the bookers who aren't going to jump on without the supply or the talent, and the talent are waiting for the bookers to jump on. So it's quite a difficult business to get started. what we've managed to achieve in the last 2 years is quite significant. As you can see there on the screen, we've onboarded 2,500 vetted talent, a mixture of celebrities and represented talent, along with the cream of the crop of your unrepresented talent. So your speakers, your magicians, your independent musicians, DJs, people that look after their own bookings. The represented talent are looked after by 120 or so now management companies and agencies. Again, a global first. No other platform has ever built the amount of trust we have with these companies to allow them to list them on another platform. They spend hours per month trolling the internet, trying to pull their artists off websites. So for us to have built that trust with them to allow them to endorse the platform and list their talent is incredible. I'm not sure if you guys have seen online, but we have over 120 celebrities now that have come on camera and thrown their support behind the platform with their Find Me on Acta videos. That's something that we have received completely free of charge. Such is their belief in what we're trying to achieve and what we are achieving. They've come out and said, we want to support this business and this platform because we're sick of getting inquiries through 5 or 6 different channels for the same event. We're sick of event producers having to spend hours on Google trying to source my manager or bounce between different agencies that don't actually represent me. And so that's pretty incredible in itself as well. During the phase, we introduced around 750 bookers to this list of talent. And with no marketing or PR at all, we achieved some pretty significant results. So over 750 bookings were powered by acta through that period, which resulted in talent being paid just over $5 million directly. I'll just briefly touch on the business model at this point to kind of give you some more context around what that number means. With the platform and the way it's been designed, talent are paid directly by the bookers, and so the money doesn't pass through the platform before the talent receive it. Additionally, we allow talent to contract directly with the bookers. Transparency for us was so important in terms of building trust with the talent and then providing a service for the bookers that allowed them this direct access that Harris mentioned before. So I'll now pass on to Harris to kind of touch on some of the investors that we were managed to gain the attention of during that phase, which was another huge result for the business after the beta phase.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. To elaborate on what Michael said as well, not only is acta a global first in terms of unison and alliance within a whole industry, backing one platform in entertainment and events, and allowing that platform to feature their talent, which they troll the internet to try to remove from every other platform. So to have everyone sort of carrying the same flag, yes, that's a world first. But even more significant world first is that this is the first time that there has ever existed a service for talent that is completely free of charge to them. Now, that is the building block of what acta is built on. The complete commissionless nature of it is also why everyone on this screen and the one and who Michael spoke to you about in the previous slide about the 115 managers and agents, that is why we're all in this together. I don't know if you guys know any more about me or whether you know of an act called Sushi Mango, arguably the biggest comedy group in Australia right now, just sold out back-to-back Kudos arenas. As a manager of those artists, acta is a godsend for me because not only can I source and speak to every opportunity on one interface, but I can also invite my talent in as well for that pure transparency, and I'm not losing any commissions to anybody else. So acta charges bookers and users separately to what they pay the talent. And it's a significant achievement that we've been able to have everyone join in this movement. And speaking of joining in the movement, I mean, Sean Levin, ex founding director of arguably the biggest speaking agency in Australia, who now runs arguably the biggest media agency in Australia, who represents everyone from Hamish and Andy and onwards. He has been a vocal supporter of ours since I basically napkined this idea to him about 5 years ago. Paul Dainty, again, along with Michael Gudinski and the Frontier Group, TEG Dainty are the biggest promoters in Australia, top 10 global, an incredible servant to the industry, and blown away with his support, because he sees ACTA as a tool to actually move into touring as well, which is huge for us, and that will happen eventually. Michael Parisi, ex-head of Warner, ex-head of Mushroom, current manager of Tina Arena and Vera Blue, and Alex Smith, management of the Veronicas. Again, we thank them so much for their undying support of us, and you can see these guys are all talent focused. Yeah. Second Line, biggest comedy promoters, and one of the biggest touring companies in Australia, in the Bomb family, and then we have some serious management and industry people as well. Now, what this shows, is a collection of people right at the absolute top of the industry that are all pulling on the same rope that we're pulling on, and we're asking you to pull on as well. You have opportunities in the world that you can invest in, everything from shares and startups. But the reason we've been so popular, and if you've watched my videos beforehand, you would have seen comments that maybe you took literally, maybe you took it as a throwaway, but we've built the technology, we've proven our hypothesis, and our beta has gone through the roof. We have the industry support, and we are ready to scale. All we are doing now is amplifying the message. That's it. So when you think about an opportunity, and you think about the risk, and then you think to yourself, okay, well, how have these guys de-risked it for us? The fact that the technology is built, it's in market, it's working, everyone loves it, and the industry support it to the level where even the absolute biggest people in the industry are investing in the product, it sort of guarantees that product safety. Now, Michael talked about also 120 plus celebrities shooting Find Me on Acta videos. If you were a brand looking for any one of those celebrities to endorse your product, you're paying 6 figures for that product endorsement. So imagine us shooting 120 product endorsements. We're talking about millions of dollars of ambassadorships and support. Those people are not going to suddenly shoot another video for anybody else. And the owners of their agencies and managers are not going to endorse another product. And as far as we're concerned, all we need is help now to amplify the message and market the opportunity to the rest of Australia, because we're not going backwards. Globally and growth strategy over the next 18 months, I'll hand over back to Michael.
Thanks, Harris. Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of the strategy and what we're going to spend the funds on, as you can see on the screen, it's in 3 main areas, right? So our sales strategy is going to be a combination of both inbound and outbound. We've started to do some digital marketing through the Birchal campaign, additionally through the active videos and client testimonials and things like our advocate. We've got a pretty comprehensive mix in terms of digital across Meta and LinkedIn. We're going to continue that as we move forward in terms of amplifying the message around the fact that, you don't have to Google, you can find talent directly on ACTA, continue to enhance the brand and the credibility of it through testimonials and client quotes and things like that. Paired with that, we're going to begin a pretty significant outbound sales strategy, which is going to encompass hiring business development officers and managers across all the different key talent booker markets. So as Harris touched on before, markets like government and council, right? Councils organize huge festivals and community events which spend millions of dollars in talent every year. Marketing and PR companies who do brand activations, product launches, and events themselves, right? There'll be a person that looks after that. Events agencies, again, hundreds of thousands of those in Australia who spend millions, if not, hundreds of millions of dollars on talent every single year. Venues, gosh, I'm losing track of how many different booker markets there are, but the strategy is to employ people and bring people into the business who are going to specialize and have experience in those particular areas and bring them on as users. And touching on the business model Harris mentioned before, and the way we charge the bookers a fee for using the platform per booking, but we've also started to transition into charging subscription for some of those users, which as a as a marketplace business, that's the holy grail, right? We want recurring revenue. We want MRR as high as possible to set the foundation so that, you know, fluctuations in the industry, fluctuations in time of year, the business isn't affected by that. We want to build a consistent baseline of revenue, and having these biz dev managers go out and build relationships and sign up councils and venues and conference organizers onto these subscriptions where they're booking all their talent through acta, is such a key part of that. Now, the product ties into both of those first two things, because as we start to reach more people and bring them onto subscription, and they're using the platform more consistently, the product needs to follow. So it's a cycle, right? Where we go out and we sign people up and we talk to them, and every user is going to have different needs, and that's going to need to be supported by product enhancements. As Harris mentioned, AI curation is such a key part of that, because it allows for bookers who a lot of the time don't know who they want and need guidance. It allows them to talk to the platform and have the platform recommend them talent based on brief and budget. There's things like video conferencing. We want the ability for event organizers and talent bookers to post an event or an opportunity and have the talent themselves reach out, putting themselves forward. Again, that's going to drive a lot of booking growth, and it's a really important part of it, because talent are always wanting to be booked. They're always needing avenues to reach end clients, but without the tool, or a tool like acta, it's hard. You know, as an independent artist, you don't have the money to go and spend on SEO or SEM, or you don't have the money to go and, you know, spend money on advertising and do email campaigns and things like that. So they rely on these intermediary third parties to do that for them, knowing they're getting commission taken out, knowing it's between 20, 30, 40, 50% sometimes. With acta, they've got a platform now that they can own their profile, own their presence, and we're out there promoting through our inbound sales strategy, through our outbound sales, and they've got the platform to be able to go on there and have a look at opportunities and put themselves forward for things that otherwise the client might not even know they existed, right? So those are some of the examples of some of the product enhancements and the kind of the strategy that we're going to employ with the money. But as Harris said, you know, the marketplace is built, the hard work in terms of onboarding the talent, which was, you know, seemingly impossible, is done. And now it's just about amplifying the message. And I'll let Harris sort of finish us off here by talking a bit about the global strategy.
Thanks, Michael. Just to follow up on what Michael said, just a little bit right at the end. You know, it's true that talent all wish to get as many leads through as possible, depending on what type of talent they are. But always need everyone to remember that acta is unlike any platform globally. You know, there are so many talent apps out there, yeah, where, you know, they do the simple thing. You add a talent, you go on there, you click on a talent, you know, you put some money on your credit card, you book the talent, you take a big slice of their fee, whether it's 20, 30%, whatever it is. They're just reconstituted third-party websites, which are the bane of everyone's existence. No one has celebrities on there, obviously. No one can feature like tools that really help. And the reason I tell you this is that this is a professional tool. Acta can be used for birthdays, and you know, and weddings. It can be, but it's a professional tool built by event professionals for all types of talent booking professionals across those markets that Michael said. And I don't mean to show you up, Michael, but small venues, large venues, RSLs, municipalities, marketing and PR organizations, EA and PA organizations. There are a bunch of these markets that acta is really going to help and support. And imagine for municipality events and government events and charities, which are a huge portion of that, the oversight that acta gives the spender of money on talent and making sure that that money is going where it's supposed to go, because they're spending that on behalf of a charity or on behalf of a taxpayer, is massive, which is why we've got so much support by municipalities. Ironically, and I didn't mean this, but there's Vera Blue performing for the Forbes Shire Council. This council tried to get Vera to perform for 5 years and couldn't get her over the line. Anyone that wants to call Forbes and ask them, she is a Forbes native. She grew up in Forbes. Her sister and her parents still live there. And her sister was going to be on the same stage. They couldn't get her. They used to bounce around the internet and get charged so much more than what she was prepared to pay for, to play for. And this year she did it, and it was all powered by acta, and everyone was happy, and the municipality and the taxpayer was the beneficiary. Now, how do we expand this? How do we rinse and repeat this globally? Well, this is where you come in. Okay. Now, we've explained that acta has had significant support and investment from inside the industry. On my videos, and it wasn't a throwaway comment, we've also been approached by VCs in the past because they can see our growth, first to market, and massive industry support, both from the talent, their representatives, and the users, on the fact that we're only going up. But we really, really wanted to turn acta into an ownership group of industry and people that were passionate about what we're doing. I wanted, 500 to 1,000 shareholders before we went public. I really wanted this to be a movement of shareholders and a movement of people. Now, how do we do that and rinse and repeat everything that we've told you in this webinar into other territories where we don't have relationships, we don't have a presence, we haven't worked in for the last 20 or 30 years. And you guys play a crucial role in this, because what we're going to achieve with acta is a massive shareholding group that are passionate about this, and then move on to official government and charity recognition and an associated level of being. And once we, to use an old music analogy, because I did come from the music industry, once you have a hit record in Australia, it's going to be a hit record everywhere else, because humans are the same everywhere. They have the same problems, they have the same ears, and they have the same issues now with Google and problems in events. Whether you're in India, whether you're in England, whether you're in America, it doesn't matter, because you're the same type of person that is doing the same type of job that's got the same type of problems. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a hit record in Australia. We're going to take market share over the next 18 months using, everything that we've told you about previously, by just amplifying the message. That's all we need to do. And once we've achieved that #1 hit single, and once we've achieved that associative support, both from industry and government, we'll look to other industries internationally and show them the way forward with acta. So again, thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. And any questions, please shoot.
Great. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was super informative of what acta does and what you're looking to achieve and the problem that you're solving. So thank you so much for that. We've had a few questions come through already. So will this be available eventually for all artists, media, influencers, etc. across the world? Obviously, it's just in Australia at the moment, but in terms of your pipeline, will that be an international solve soon?
Okay, I can take that one. We already have some of the biggest social media influencers on there. Roxy Jasenko and her management company have onboarded their entire roster, and a few others as well. When we say 90% of the industry, we mean 90% of the industry. Everyone from music, film, media, comedy, sport, everyone you can think of, 90% are available on acta, which is why it's so mind-blowing an achievement as a directory itself. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we haven't even touched on the tools for unrepresented people, and a lot of social media influencers are unrepresented. What you might not know, depending on how deep you've dived into acta, is whereas managers and agents will upload their contracts and upload their invoices to be executed and paid directly by bookers on acta, unrepresented talent literally can just click a button and have an agreement populated in their name with their ABN, click a button and have a tax invoice populated in their name with their bank details, and click a button and get insurance for their performance or whatever the opportunity exists in their name. And this is all for free. Nothing is charged to the talent, whether they're Jimmy Barnes or whether they're a social media influencer that is trying to contract the brand opportunity because of their online presence. Nothing is for free globally for talent, whether you're talking about the crazy 38% or whatever is charged by platforms like, you know, shout out platforms that exist, all the way through to third parties that, you know, charge anywhere between 20 and 50%. So we're looking to achieve this level of ubiquity where not only do we use that associative example that I told you about just at the end of the presentation, but also have this sweeping endorsement by unrepresented talent and represented talent as well to replicate that across every artist in every territory all over the world.
Thank you so much. So the current website, the talent profiles that are on there, they seem to be only for physical talent, aerial, musical artists, for example, or for appearances. Do you not offer acting work as talent offerings?
A lot of questions about this online. There are so many tools out there like Star Now and things like that. And there's a lot of actors. And you know, you've got to think about who are the really passionate people that really like chase work. Now, let's be honest. You might be a famous footballer on a great, you know, salary and contract with your football club, but you also like these little bits of, you know, dessert that you can earn on the side as an appearance or an MC. Same with music. You might have great record sales and the concert tour, but you do love doing corporate events because it is a good little side bit of income. But then when you consider independent artists that are really need that work to pay their mortgage and pay their toothpaste, or when you're looking for actors that are trying to get in front of as many casting opportunities as possible, these guys are the ones that are ravenous for opportunities, which is why Michael mentioned before about posting an opportunity, which is really going to help that demographic. Right now, we're not focused or concentrating on creating opportunities for that sector, but that does not mean that ACTA doesn't have its eye on it for the future. Right now, what we're concentrating on are live events and marketing and PR opportunities for all types of talent. That's our background. That's where we come up from. That's where all our knowledge of the problems and the reason we built the solutions exist. But that does not mean that we're not going to be able to upload every type of performance artists, including unsigned and unrepresented actors in future.
Great, thank you. Will you prioritize musical acts over other types of media, such as YouTubers, influencers, TikTokers, etc., as there might be quite a large market for ad promotions and collaborations?
We do not discriminate, and we're not part of the contract. ACTA is, I mean, I've always described it like a virtual boardroom. You know, we are a safe place and a safe haven for all types of talent bookers to find all types of talent. That's what we are. We're not a party to the contract. We're not a party to the payment. We are a safe haven. And because we're a safe haven and we don't get involved in those situations, the opportunities and for talent rest with the bookers. And there's nothing stopping you know, someone reaching out to anyone that's on the ACTA platform and offering them any type of opportunity, you know, whether that's to MC their daughter's wedding or be the ambassador to their global brand. It really doesn't matter because the opportunities rest with the people promoting those opportunities, and we don't discriminate with anybody. Whatever the opportunity is and whatever the talent is, they have a place on ACTA, and they will always have a place on ACTA. And, you know, we haven't touched on this as much on everything else, but since you're bringing it up about all types of talent, imagine a world where all types of talent services as well. Imagine all types of services that are required within a film shoot or a movie or a TV show or a marketing campaign or a live event. So imagine being able to find your videographer and your venue and your security team and your hair and makeup artist. These are all things in the future, but talent is specific and we're taking it literally for now. This is talent-based, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to expand on the word talent in future.
Awesome, thank you. So you've mentioned that the only competitor in Australia is Google. What about the global market? Are there any global competitors that you would consider, and how would you disrupt this?
Google's not a competitor. I get the question though. Google is the problem. But it's not like Google foresaw, and they're the big bad wolf here. That Google has been, like I said, the best thing about, the internet. It's created so much freedom of speech and access to information. Unfortunately, people are opportunists and they're always going to try and twist that information. And that's what they've done within the events and entertainment industries, especially with talent profiles. There is no competitor to acta, and there's no other platform globally that has that is both a directory and offers tools and is commissionless. You can't actually achieve what acta has achieved unless you have the industry support. Otherwise, you're listing the talent without their permission. You can't list talent without their permission, without taking a commission from them. We don't do either, because we allow them to be paid directly. So it's like this perfect sort of little harmonious ecosystem we've built, where we've given the booker everything that they've needed. They hate wasting time on Google, and they hate paying intermediaries, right? So we give them acta, which gives them a free line of communication to the talent or the representative, and the ability to pay them directly. And all these tools that just remove a whole bunch of human error when, in perspective to their market, whether it's their advertising or whether they're live events. And then on the other side, we've given talent something that they never thought was ever possible, which is the ability to be paid directly without losing a single bit of commission to anyone in the middle. Now, when you give both sides what they want, then you achieve this ecosystem that we've been able to build. But you need support from both sides, and that's why it hasn't been achieved by any other industry. You need an industry to build this. So it's not like someone can, come up with another Uber tomorrow in America. You need a whole industry behind it. The whole industry that has joined behind it in Australia will be associated, and then we'll replicate that association in separate markets. That's the only way to achieve ubiquity within a global endeavor like we're doing. But the road is clear in terms of how we're going to achieve that. And it is fraught with a million different problems for people that wish to do it any other way, because you cannot achieve a replicate of acta without having industry support and being completely free of charge to talent.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
How does the platform handle conflicts between bookers and talent after the contract is being executed?
I really want Michael to answer at least one of these, but given the fact
sure.
that
Oh, you want me to answer it, or you want to go for it?
I want you to answer it, but then I'll give you the legal opinion, given that I'm the lawyer.
So I'll touch on it briefly. I mean, look, one of the results of us being so transparent and allowing the bookers to contract with the talent directly means that contractually we're not a part of the agreement. There may be a future in whereby we provide some level of security or some level of reassurance for certain types of talent. I'm predominantly talking about your kind of low to mid-tier unrepresented talent. I mean, Jimmy Barnes, Hamish and Andy, the Veronicas, Joel Creasy, right? They're very, very, very rare. And I'll let Harris confirm this, but very rarely do any sort of conflicts arise from those kinds of contracts. They're professionals. And so, you don't have that issue where a booker's not paying talent or the talent doesn't rock up to the event. It happens extremely rarely. But, on the flip side, for your kind of up and coming talent, we appreciate that bookers who don't know them or might be only sourcing them for the first time through acta may want some assurances. That functionality, is potentially on the horizon, where we provide some sort of protection for the bookers. But for the minute, and as of right now, the contractual arrangements directly between the bookers and the talent or the talent agents themselves.
So I think this is a mindset question, right? The question is, how do you ensure that the contract is honoured? Again, I go back to being what I talked about being a virtual boardroom. Okay, stop thinking of ACTA as going through something. You're not going through. It's not a middleman of any type. It is like a safe haven, like a virtual boardroom where you're using. Think about it like a phone, like an email, like a computer. It's just a communication portal. So the same problems that exist outside of ACTA will exist inside. If someone doesn't want to pay or doesn't want to turn up to an event, ACTA doesn't stop that from happening, nor does it protect people. But there's a big difference. And that's the fact that, like Michael said, because represented talent upload their own agreements and their own tax invoices, and they deal directly, nothing changes from beforehand. What has changed, though, dramatically, is that as a solicitor with over 30 years experience, I lie, I'm not that old, 25 years experience, I've drafted agreements that vastly protect unrepresented talent who really have, unrepresented talent send an invoice, and they rely on the laws of commerciality. That's what they rely on. The basic laws of contract law, offer expense acceptance and consideration is what they have always relied upon. And invoices and communications can help with proving an argument. But terms of an agreement that are exchanged provides that extra level of help. So let's leave represented talent to the side because they literally send their own agreement to be executed, and they handle their own issues. And like Michael said, that's never the case with celebrities anyway, because it's all crossed T's, dotted I's well before contracts are exchanged and invoices are paid. Let's talk about the people that really need our help, the unrepresented talent that don't have managers, don't have agents. Those people now are contractually protected. So you're not going through ACTA, but ACTA is this big lion that's standing in front of you and saying, we are here to help both sides, but act accordingly because our contracts that we're not a party of are now provided for free for people that never had them before, including insurance, which is also a very, very big deal. If you're paying public liability insurance as an independent, you're paying a couple of grand a year. You don't need to do that anymore if you use ACTA as your booking tool. And it's never going to cost you anything. You can throw away your invoice to go subscription or whatever else you're using, to handle your payments. Again, ACTA does it for you completely for free. So you've got a profile that you can share now. You've got contracts, you've got insurances, you've got an invoice generator, and it's for free and it will always be for free. Next question, please.
This is probably a good one to go on to in terms of your revenue model. So if the talent are not paying ACTA the commission, how do you retain your 10% commission? Who pays this to ACTA?
Commission is the wrong word. Like I said, we charge the booker is sent 2 invoices. Yeah. Let's talk about Jimmy Barnes for, I don't know, Mack Trucks event. Jimmy Barnes' agent uploads his agreement and uploads his invoice, and Mack Truck pay that directly. Separately, Mack Trucks gets an invoice from ACTA and says, hey, thanks for using our directory and our tools. Here's our invoice. And they pay our invoice. 2 completely separate invoices. Not a commission, doesn't take anything from Jimmy's fee. Jimmy asks for X amount. Jimmy gets exactly that X amount. And separate to that, ACTA gets their amount. Currently, it's a pay-for-play charge, which at the very top is $5,000, which is 10% of any fee above $50,000 to the talent. But again, it's on top of the artist fee. But if it's for an artist that's $200, then it's a $20 charge. If it's an artist for $500, I used to book magicians, and because I had overheads and a staff and offices, the magician would cost me $500. I would have to charge $1,000 just so I could make a 10% profit on it because I had so many overheads. Now the booker pays that magician $500 directly and saves $500 that they would have lost to an intermediary third party. A speaker that would, that they could get for maybe $1,000 or $2,000. They've been charged $3,000 and $4,000 in the past. because the curators and the agencies behind that speaker have serious overheads to handle those charges. Now they pay that directly and pay a separate $200 per $2,000 to acta. Like Michael said when he was answering before, our Holy Grail is a subscription service. We don't want to charge per booking. We want to leave it open to people that have one-off bookings where they'll only book one talent a year. They need to be able to pay a one-off fee to use acta. But acta is a professional tool that's been built for people that will book tens and hundreds of artists a year. So what we're really looking for is a subscription model. But what will always remain is the fact that talent bookers will always pay talent directly, separate invoice, nothing to do with acta.
Great, thank you so much for clearing that one up. And just to circle back to the competitor question, we're just trying to understand the competitive landscape in the USA, UK, and Europe. Is anyone over there working on a similar solution to what you've created, or are they just relying on the same legacy processes that you're trying to fix?
Great question. I will never tire of answering this question because I'm so proud of what we've achieved. And that goes for not just for myself and for my team, but also as an industry. I'm so proud of this industry, and I'll tell you why. The competitor landscape, like I said earlier in this Q&A, is non-existent because of two reasons. The first is that as an industry, you need to join forces. It's impossible without the industry. If everyone is not pulling in the same direction, or at least a vast majority of them, you're not going to achieve a directory. Without a directory, you can't achieve lines of communication. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that without it being completely free of charge to talent, you're never going to get the industry to back it. Because that just makes you like hundreds of other talent platforms out there, which are either deliberately misrepresenting access to your artist or charging thousands of dollars in commissions. There is no platform, though, globally that has any type of celebrity talent on there with the permission of the management or agency. Okay, that doesn't exist. Unless you're talking about Cameo or things like that. And there's another one that's about to launch called Shoutouts. These platforms are shout-out platforms. They're not, they're designed to bypass the traditional approaches to managers and agents anyway, by just getting someone on their couch to shoot a little shout out and get a few $100s out of it. But that also brings up a future performance option for acta, and that will also be coming up. But that's the only one. There is no platform globally. We have a lovely, fastidious team member at acta, which I won't shout out right now to everybody, who scours the net daily to look for anything like this, and it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist not because the technology is hard to build. It doesn't exist because the industry doesn't support anything. And that's what I said about that at the start. I'm so proud of what we've achieved as an industry. It's mind-blowing that 120 celebrities have come out and said, find me on acta. Why would they do that? These guys get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for their endorsement. If a tea company asked Lisa and Jess from the Veronicas to endorse them, they're going to pay for that endorsement, that reach, that sharing of IP, that brand equity. But for us, for free. Why? Because we help Lisa and Jess, and we help the people that want to book them. And because of that, we've got industry backing, and because of the industry backing, we have the directory, and because of the directory, we have acta, and that's the hardest thing to achieve. So we're not concerned about replicants or competitors. They don't exist. They don't exist because it's a really, really hard thing that we've achieved.
Awesome. There's been a few questions about return for investment. So that's something that I can answer. So companies that come through equity crowdfunding are relatively early stage. They're startups or just early stage businesses. So it's really difficult to predict when a return on investment might occur. So there's a few ways that you could get a return on your investment, because investments through crowdsourced funding are what's considered illiquid, because these companies are either publicly unlisted or privately listed companies. Therefore, you can't sell them on an exchange like the ASX, for example. So ways that you can get a return on your investment are if a company decides to pay dividends on their shares, if they organize a share buyback in the future at a different price, if the company is acquired by a larger company, if they do an initial public offering, or they do list on the ASX or another trading platform like that. So there's a multitude of ways that you can get a return on your investment down the track, but it should be considered as a medium to long-term investment, where you wouldn't be expecting to see returns between the next 3 to 5 years. So just keep that in mind when you do invest through the Birchal platform. Also, people are asking how you can invest in ACTA. So if you haven't expressed interest in the ACTA campaign so far, you can do so. I'm just going to pop the link in the chat box so that you can express interest. But by doing so, you will be kept up to date with when the offer does go live, which means you can invest your funds in the platform. Harris or Michael, you might not know the answer to this just yet, but have you decided what your minimum investment will be per individual?
We haven't decided. I mean, we want to make this open. I believe, and I think we've discussed it, it'll probably be around the $250 to $500 mark. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, I think, but yeah, lowest would be 250. And that's, again, aligning with the fact that we want this to be accessible by everybody. You know, we're building a community just as much as we're raising capital. And we don't want to exclude people from that ability to own the business and own part of their future. You know, we want unrepresented musicians, speakers, event producers, production company, anybody that's within the industry and that's passionate about the events and entertainment space. We want them to join the investors we mentioned, join the business, join the team, because as Harris mentioned, as I'm sure you're aware by now, it's, you know, this is an industry push. We want everybody pulling on the same rope, all driving the future of the industry forward together. And it would, you know, nothing more would please us than having, you know, like I said, you know, talent and agencies and managers and event producers and bookers all owning a part of the business together. So we're intentionally keeping that barrier to entry quite low at around probably the 250 mark.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your amazing questions. We have run out of time, but if you do have any more questions for Harris or Michael, you can reach out to them via the Birchal platform. There is a private message button where you can get in touch. And if you do have any other questions about the offer, I'm sure they'll be able to answer that for you. And if you do have any questions about investing or anything about equity crowdfunding, just head to birchal.com. There is a chat bot in the bottom right-hand corner where you can reach out to us as well. But thank you, Harris and Michael, for your time today. And thank you, everybody, for your amazing questions.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.